Now, watching the game, Jeff, as I'm sure you Parramatta people did with a great deal of interest, just to work out tactics and so forth, did you see anything in there that really had you greatly worried? Did you think that this was going to be easy, hard, tough, or how did you react? What was your coach's reaction to it?
Well, we watched it. We knew that Canterbury keep coming up all day. They kept coming up outside the Canterbury players and forcing them back in, and I think that's been their greatest asset in the semi-finals. And although everybody says they've got a great attacking style, they did plenty of grafting work.
Yeah.
And that's why I think they beat Cronulla. They really flogged them.
They flogged them to death, yeah.
That tremendous tackle Steve just pointed out, that's when the arm was broken by Bendel.
Is that the one he broke? Is that right?
Yeah.
And when you look at it, there was tremendous body contact there.
Well, now, I've got another incident we're going to show you later in the game in which I thought he broke his arm, in which he must have just hurt it badly again.
Yeah, well, it was just numb. And then he did a tackle again, and that was it.
Well, I'll show you the other one later, but this is, of course, that first try. That sort of try knocks you, can I use the colloquialism, backside in, doesn't it? I mean, when you're playing against a team that somebody in it can do that to you.
Yeah, well, you seem to be going all right, then all of a sudden somebody can flash through and score a try. It does.
They're called match winners, those fellas, aren't they? They don't grow on trees either.
They don't grow on trees.
I thought Canterbury was so superior to Cronulla in most aspects of the game last week, it wasn't even funny. But you read about in the paper later that there was a number of the Cronulla players that were covering definite injuries, and perhaps it makes you wonder whether you should get back to the if you're not fit enough to get on the paddock, you shouldn't be there.
Each game of the last three, Ferris, Canterbury have made the defence of the other side look very ordinary, haven't they? You know,
right, tries in 3 games.
My word, and no matter how good the defence has been, Canterbury have seemed to bust them all the time, you know, and they're making the other side, as I say, look very ordinary all the time.
Well, I'm just amazed at the improvement in the Canterbury pack. Peter Smith and Greg Cook. Of course, Greg Cook's had a stormy sort of a season, but Peter Smith was looked upon by the Canterbury, obviously by their selections, as a reserve grader. But what happens here? Coveney gets injured, Robinson's injured, and the improvement now with Smith and Cook in the front row, as against with the old general there, I shouldn't say old, George Paponis there. Canterbury with Casillas, folks, they are a form pack at the present time, and they're going to give St George quite a bit of problem next week.
Because there's another aspect that I've deliberated on this week of why Cronulla went so bad. Could it be the fact that there was an announcement made that Provan was not going to continue coaching with the club, and maybe an offer was made or a suggestion was made to one of the senior players on the side that he would be the coach, and now we hear that Tommy Bishop's almost certain to be the coach. Do you think there was a little bit of drama in that that might have upset the team?
No,
you don't think so?
No, I don't.
I'll tell you what, you're naive, Alan. I thought you were being a top-class journo. I thought you were.
No, I'm not naive at all. I saw Canterbury play, and I give all credit to Canterbury.
Yes, that's an old hackneyed one. We can always give credit to the winners. I think there was a little behind-the-scenes drama there with the Cronulla side too, unless I'm missing, I guess.
You came out last week and said that Alan McMahon was going up to Penrith. Well, there's no truth in that, so there's obviously no truth in that.
That was quoted. That was an Alan McMahon quote.
Well, what do we do? Then we go back to half the west side have been signed up with Manly, and is that their reason for going bad?
Whose reason for going bad?
Is that West's reason for going bad? Because
I think the timing, from what I hear, the timing was pretty bad to start making announcements about coaches dropping out. And I heard that a coaching job was offered to somebody else, and it's not apparently going to that player.
Well, I agree with you, Rex. I reckon at this time there should be no other thoughts going around with a club in the semi-finals, the finals, grand finals, but to get the job done and get it over with. Never mind about 1980. Look, let's finish 79 first.
Well, that sort of thing out of hand anyway, isn't it?
If that sort of thing worries the players, ought to get rid of the players.
Oh, come on, you've got to finally choose. You've got 2 players here. You know, these guys have passed for fairly good players, wouldn't they?
They're very good players.
Wouldn't you rather have your mind completely on football and not worrying about some incidental side issue in an important lead up to a grand final or final week? Yeah, you wouldn't want to have something hanging over you like a contract or worrying about who was going to coach the side next year, would you?
I think a player should put it out of his mind, but I don't think the club would help by doing things like that.
Yeah, well, that's the contention I'm making. Have you got an opinion on that, or are you going to be cheeky about it?
No, I agree with Jeff, but I think once you take the field, that's all gone by, you know. You're out there to win. So.
All right. Let's have a look at the second half of that game. And this, of course, resulted in the 30-5 win to the Canterbury Bank. 30-15 win to the Canterbury side over Cronulla. There was significance too in this try that was scored when Pearce had virtually not got back on the field. There he is, just coming into the play. He was late back being stitched up, and blimey, didn't he need some stitches? I'm told it was 11 stitches.
Yeah.
Somebody told me he's seen a bullock out at the abattoirs bleeding worse than that didn't get up. And his new nickname's got to be Captain Blood, hasn't it?
I'm glad it was his and not mine.
Yeah, well, you don't have that much blood in you. Yours is straight undiluted alcohol.
One of
One
the big features in this particular game, I thought, was the blotting out of the Sorensen brothers by the Canterbury defence. I saw Canterbury play that game. I'm sure Steve wants to forget about over at Manly there, where Manly looked just
That was a good game.
Back in the premiership contention. And I felt that, that Canterbury at that stage looked like missing out on the preliminary playoffs. But the difference in the Canterbury side now, particularly with the defence, which was highlighted, particularly in nullifying Sorensen, was unbelievable. Steve, where did this club spirit come from all of a sudden?
Winning games.
The club spirit's been there all year, and it's been there for 2 years or 4 years. I've been there now, but especially this year, we had a task in front of us. One club poached a few players from us. We made the most of what we had, and lucky enough, we're there this Saturday.
Steve, just one little question. Now, how do you fellas motivate yourselves? Do you go on with all this face slapping that we've been reading about? Do you swear at each
Is
other?
Canterbury
punch
the
each
other club that goes for the smack of the face with them?
No.
You don't do that?
They got their own swimming pool.
I tell you what, that made me sick this week to watch it last Sunday night on that 60-minute program, which is a good program. I'm not knocking the program. I thought that was the sickest thing I've seen on television, the most denigrating thing for rugby league I've seen in a heap of years, and I was absolutely shocked. I got a lot of time and admiration for Roy Masters, and if that's the way he goes about motivating his team on the basis of geographical situations, we're the poor, broken down people from western suburbs, and we've got to get on top of the silvertails from the better geographical areas. It's just absolute nonsense. It's garbage from the NFL. We don't need it in rugby league, and I'm shocked, absolutely shocked, that a man of the calibre of Roy Masters would pull that sort of garbage on a football team.
Yeah, so you've got to worry about, or wonder about, that type of motivation.
And it's like the fighters crossing yourself before you get in the ring. It only helps if you can fight too, It hasn't done him any good at the Sydney Cricket Ground, has it?
I tell you what, I hate to be warming up with Ned Kelly with a bit of a few
Yeah, I
punches.
wouldn't mind going on with a bit of a smack.
You'll win. But how'd you be lining up with Sats before the game?
No thanks, no. That'd be
Use up all your reserves before the game
It
starts.
would have been just my luck to pull somebody like that. Listen, I want to show you this incident now, because this is the one I thought that Brentnell broke his arm in during that game. Now watch him here,
Right.
and you'll see him come away holding his arm, so he's only re-hurt it there.
Right.
That's when the numbness wore off.
Yeah.
That wasn't long after, and Greg felt numbness when he hit Rick Burke, I think it was, and then a tackle later, he found out the numbness went, and yeah.
How many times has he had breaks since he's been with Canterbury? Is that the third one? 2 broken arms and a broken leg?
No, just he's broken both arms.
That was his good arm.
I don't go on with that.
You're lucky if it was an octopus.
That was unfortunate. Mossop's sick sense of humour was going to come out then. I'd better put that away, Jim. If you see me do that again, will you make me not do it?